Welcome to Safety Spectrum, your environmental health and safety connection. This program is a presentation of the Michigan Safety Conference. For almost a century, the annual conference has provided credible educational opportunities and valuable support to the safety and health practitioner by offering 120 instructional programs along with exhibits highlighting the latest in safety equipment, instrumentation, and demonstrations. To learn more about the conference, please find us at safetyconference.org. Welcome to Safety Spectrum, the podcast for the Michigan Safety Conference. And we are doing this live from the 2026 Michigan Safety Conference. I'm your host, Sheila Ide, and Michigan Safety Conference mission is to enhance workplace safety and health by sharing EHS best practices, provide education, and create a community of experts to help eliminate workplace injuries and fatalities. Our program today is addressing musculoskeletal challenges. Let's see how many times I get that right. We have all been challenged with creating and maintaining a workplace that reduces or eliminates musculoskeletal illnesses and injuries. Our speaker today will discuss common risks, ergonomic adjustments, and technology to help us in this task. Kristianne Egbert of Briotix, okay, close. That's why we do it live. Right? Is a certified professional ergonomist through the Board of Certified Professional Ergonomists. For the past 25 years, Kristianne has delivered ergonomic solutions across various industries, championing initiatives to enhance workplace conditions. Her expertise includes managing ergonomics programs, conducting risk assessments, providing training, design consultation, and leveraging technology to optimize employee performance. Her passion lies in tackling ergonomic challenges within manufacturing settings, aiming to boost efficiency and ensure overall health and safety. So thank you for joining me today on Safety Spectrum.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about your company and your role?
Well, you read off quite a bit of it there, but Briotix Health really specializes in workplace safety and health, especially as it relates to musculoskeletal risks. You know, protecting those soft tissues, helping to keep our workers safe from those ergonomic injuries. We've expanded out a bit as well to include occupational health and safety, occupational health clinics, nurses and that sort of thing as well. But really kind of working through our different service pillars, we focus on ergonomics and post-offer employment testing, the health clinics, and really kind of cover the worker from hire to retire. Return to work, all sorts of different specialties. Obviously, as the corporate ergonomist, I focus on the ergonomic side of things. Really collaborating with our clients and helping them grow their programs, right? So we might start out with somebody and they have no ergonomics program. Okay, let's start. Well, you know, what's your appetite? Where should we start? How can we continue to grow this? And how can we continue to help make sure that you're successful in reducing those workplace injuries?
So are musculoskeletal injuries or illnesses still the biggest working comp driver?
Yeah, they are.
So that hasn't changed from putting a stack of paper underneath your screen to lift up back in the day. Right?
Well, during the COVID years, all the equipment was impossible to get, and we were back to doing all of those very basic things. I mean, we had people sitting at ironing boards so that they could have their own height adjustable work table because they didn't have enough desks at home to accommodate their family and the kids learning from home and everything.
It's a whole different challenge, isn't it?
we get to be creative sometimes still.
So what are the most common injury risks employees might overlook in the workplaces, and how can they recognize early warning signs?
Yeah, so I think when it comes to ergonomic risk, a lot of times, you know, even just out here in the exhibit hall, talking to people as they're passing by, like, oh, well, we don't have a lot of repetition. And I think everybody thinks about ergonomics and thinks about repetition. And I think the key to remember is that it isn't just one of the ergonomic risk factors, right? Force is going to be our biggest driver for risk of injury. So when you're looking at, you know, we're talking at the Department of Transportation or field employees, utilities, that sort of thing. They're like, well, we do something different every day. So it's not necessarily about their repetition, but they're applying high levels of force. And I think people forget that it's not just repetition and it's not just force, but we're looking at the force and the repetition and the durations. You know, how long are we holding these static postures? And how long are we exposed to these job tasks throughout the day? When you're putting all of those different pieces together, you're raising your risk.
So part of that is being in shape too. Well, repetition job. I used to have waste trash people that pick up. So they do the same job over and over.
Yeah.
We would have them do a little conditioning in the morning before they headed out.
Yeah. I mean, it certainly isn't gonna hurt, right? Again, I was just talking to somebody out there and he said, I was kind of joking with my guys, but I wasn't really joking that maybe we want to start a calisthenics program. And he said, and we have part of our business is putting industrial, or putting athletic trainers in this industrial setting or in these field technician settings. And helping them train those industrial athletes, right? Because a
That's
lot
a
of
good way to
times,
put it.
right? Yeah, because a lot of times they don't have that physical ability, or maybe they had it when they started 20 years ago, but as we're aging, one of my colleagues the other day said on a webinar, they say that at 50, the wheels start to fall off.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I can relate to that,
I
right?
think the wheels are in my background now. They have disappeared
They're
down the road.
down the highway, right? Yeah. So I think that's a piece of it, certainly, is kind of that overall health. And the keynote today talking about total worker health, that's
Exactly.
all a piece of it.
Nice way to bring in the keynote.
Hey,
Yeah.
thanks.
So how can employees identify movements that might put them at risk for injury?
Well, again, I think some of that starts with awareness, right? Like, oh, this is just the way I do it. This is the way that I've always done it. And if they don't have that overall, that general awareness and understanding, they're automatically going to be at risk. So part of that is the training and education. Sometimes people are just more aware than others, right? Oh, work smarter, not harder. Okay, but what does that mean? And things like keeping your work close to your body, I think, is important. And really, again, understanding those risk factors of posture, force, frequency, understanding those, you think, wow, this is not a good posture. What's a different way that I could do this? Oh, I wonder if there's a way I could raise this so I'm not working so low. And then more importantly, being able to communicate that.
There you go.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
educating, but then following up
Right.
and
Following up.
reinforcing
Yes.
what we learned.
And that's really about a culture shift, right? A change and being able to bring forth your ideas and advocate for that change and being a part of that solution.
Yeah, I've had some problems back in the day when, we'd go through work hardening and try to recreate their job, and then they would go back on and do it the same way they did it.
Yes. Well, that's why we have the hierarchy of controls, right? Because when you're concentrating on those behavioral changes, you're still leaving it to that person to do it the right way.
That's why I think in the keynote this morning, she made that point that, we keep trying to change the employee and we need to try to change the environment.
Yeah.
As opposed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how can employees reduce strain and improve posture by incorporating ergonomic adjustments into their workplace through better equipment, less wasted motion?
Yeah. Again, it's thinking about what is the solution, being able to communicate that. More importantly, I think a lot of it comes down to, and I think there was a topic being presented this week on it, is kind of I call it the soft skills of ergonomics, right? I talked about this at the Applied Ergo conference, that I could have the greatest idea, right? And say, okay, I'm going to come in and let's pick something simple. Here's a lift table. You don't have to bend over to this pallet anymore. And if I just come in and put that lift table in, are people going to like it? They may or may not. And oftentimes kind of the two different scenarios that I give you or that I work with is this piece of equipment sitting in the corner collecting dust. And a lot of that is due to the lack of follow through and the lack of participatory ergonomics, involving people from the beginning, getting their ideas, understanding what the problem is, getting their buy-in on it.
Absolutely.
And, taking their ideas and listening to them, because that part of the implementation process is what's going to create that success. I can give somebody the best equipment in the world, and that doesn't mean that they're going to use it, and it doesn't mean that they're going to use it right. But if they can understand the why behind it, then you
5 elements: employee involvement.
Right.
Because they do the job. And often they know how to do it better.
Right.
Or they have ideas that really work.
Right.
And management's committed to listening.
Mm-hmm.
They might be able to do a little better job.
Right. Yeah. And again, that's where that culture shift comes in, and not just, oh, they're just making me do this. They just want me to work faster. And that's all. That's the only reason they're doing this. Might make them work faster. Ideally it does, but it's really helping them understand that why.
I think management always looks at, how much something costs.
Yeah.
That's why we have to keep re-emphasizing that every dollar spent gets a big return if you have the access or the
Yeah. One of the vendors out there was demoing a height adjustable mechanic seat. And he said, people can't get out of these chairs when they're down to the ground. He said, one knee injury will cover a fleet of these. And I was like, that says something, right?
this is maybe less than delicate, but I've had knee replacement and hip replacement surgery. And I can tell you when a toilet seat is
Right.
really too
Yes.
low.
Yeah. Yep.
The parts don't work as well.
Hey, yes. You're outside of that new range of
Look and I go,
motion.
oh no,
Yeah.
give me something to hang on to. So can you, I don't know if you can do this on camera here, but can you share stretches and exercise that workers can integrate into a short workstation routine to stay ahead of those issues?
Yeah, rather than thinking about it as like a very specific stretch, because it's really going to depend on what the activity is, right? So you don't want to pick the wrong one. I always tell people to think about it in terms of a counterbalance. If you're doing something, I've been exercising and I'm holding my weights and I'm in this power grip for a really long time while I'm trying to hold these weights, and my grip is really fatigued because I've been in this position. So when I put it down, I want to go into the opposite position to be able to stretch out those muscles that are kind of cramped up in that position that I've been working in. And so the same thing goes while we're working. If you're sitting, office ergonomics, you're sitting at your desk and for some reason you're hunched forward,
Yep.
then you want to move into that opposite position. And that's, you can do a lower back stretch, something to be able to kind of counterbalance that position that you've otherwise been working in. Same thing, sitting for a long time. I drove up here yesterday, 4.5 hours. I stopped after about probably a little longer than I should have. Stopped after about 3 hours, bio break more than anything. I stood up and I was like, okay, again.
That's true, because at home I use my laptop and I'm working on something, I forget. So I have to set an alarm every hour to be sure that I'm moving back.
Right. Yeah. And our technology is starting to help us out too. I got a watch and it'll tell me when it's time to get up and
walk.
Like,
Yep.
hey, lazy, go stand up.
Owe me 140 steps this hour.
Right. Yes. Yep.
So are there tools and technologies being used in 2026 to identify risks and help maintain musculoskeletal health?
Yeah, for me, this is probably one of the most exciting changes over the last 20 plus years of me doing this. Is we used to, rely on a printout and a PDF, and you'd come and you'd identify your risks and you'd watch your video and you'd find those risk thresholds. The old fashioned way of doing it, being able to use video capture now is really pretty amazing. Is it perfect? No. There's times that maybe it can't see the whole body, or sometimes it'll just pick something else up and you're like, oh, I wonder why it's got this legs as a high risk for the posture here. And we can go back to the video and look at it and identify and say, oh yeah, gosh, I didn't pick up on that's what happened here. Or it could be that, oh, that didn't happen and it picked up somebody walking by and picked up their knees instead, or whatever the case may be. But the ability to just so quickly pick up on each of those in very specific risk thresholds to say, oh, was the neck between 0 and 20? Was it between 20 and 60? Was it greater than 60? The fact that it can pick that up and tell us at what moment in time that happened, it makes our jobs that much easier.
So it can individualize each person, probably moves.
Yes, it does it individually. Again, from an ergonomic standpoint, typically we're assessing the task and not really the worker, but obviously each worker is going to do it differently. We might have to, we might have to look at different workers to say, okay, let's watch the tall person do this. Let's watch the short person do this, and understand the risks associated with both, right? We use it similarly for job coaching, that if I can say like, oh, hey, did you notice that you're twisting while you're doing this? No. Okay, well, I could show you a video, and even before this, I could show you a video, but that still might not illustrate to them exactly what they're doing wrong. But now we've got the overlays that can come on there and show them like, oh, look, you went from green to yellow. Oh, now you're at red. And it picks up those different risk thresholds, and it's an automatic communication for you.
Oh, that's effective.
To help them understand it.
When I was in college back many moons ago, I worked a job at a bakery during the summers. Yeah. And I swear to goodness, they would always put me with somebody super tall. So if you're lifting trays or something, I'm doing it.
Oh,
like
yeah.
this, just like, right in front of me. So they don't really think this is the 70s.
I mean, that's still the case today with the team lift. We say, even if you're trying to understand the risk of the lift, if you and I are lifting a 50-pound thing, we're going to be each doing a different amount of work. We're not both lifting 25 pounds, and you're shorter than me, and therefore you're probably going to be picking up more of the weight than I am. So
it's still an education piece.
Yeah,
it really
is.
The sooner we can get to people, younger people, new employees, that type of thing, probably more effective. You get people that are older and been doing it for many years. It's really hard to change a habit.
It is really hard to change a habit. Yes. Yep. Unless they're starting to get those aches and pains, and then they're like, oh, I see what we're getting at here. Okay. And sometimes those people that have been doing it for a really long time have the know-how. They've figured out the right way to do things. And I think I was at a manufacturing setting. They were making RVs, and this kid was climbing on the big CNC table afterwards, kind of cleaning the pieces out. And he would jump down. And I say kid, he was probably 22, and he would jump off the table. And there was an older gentleman that did it, that would walk to the end of the table and go down the steps. And I said, huh, you're not jumping off the table? He's like, I can't. He said, maybe I did when I was his age, but my knees have been replaced. I'm not jumping off that table anymore. Right. He's figured out, like, I can't do this to my body, or my body actually can't do this. So
yeah, when I was a young safety person, I would go in and teach people proper lifting, and I would talk to older folks, and they said, "Way to get to be our age. Those knees don't work."
I can't, right. I can't lift with my legs. And again, when you go back to the hierarchy of controls and understand what's most effective, those behavioral controls are going to be towards the bottom, because they are less effective.
Right.
Let's make it so they don't have to squat or bend.
Right.
Yes,
Exactly.
yeah.
So how can implementing company-wide initiatives to promote musculoskeletal health across the workplace help organization improve employee retention and reduce the cost? I mean, that's
the employee retention thing is real right now, right?
Yep.
Jobs are hard to fill. When they know that this is a culture, this ergonomics and safety, and they care about their workers, that sets you apart straight away as an organization. And when you're actually acting on it, it's one thing to say it. When you're actually acting on it, and they can see, like, oh wow, that everybody is a part of this culture, and oh, I gave them an idea and they actually listened to that, and it wasn't the exact idea that I had, but they made some changes and we were able to get it in place. And that goes a long way to people wanting to stay at an organization. And then you're cutting down on the retraining time and everything that comes with that turnover. So it isn't listed as a benefit or anything like that for people, but being able to see and understand that that's a culture and that's the way it works is really going to make a difference.
So why is this topic important now? Are we getting through to people at all, or?
Sorry, repeat the question.
Why is this important to be talking about this again? It's something that's been around forever, ergonomics. And
I think, honestly, I think it's the technology changes that are out there that people it feels more accessible, right? It used to be that, oh, we got to have an ergonomics company come in and do these risk assessments, and we got to have them come in every 3 years because that's what our program says we have to do. But now that we can say, hey, take your phone, here's what you're going to do. Here's how we do this. We can help you implement this program. You don't need to be an expert in it, right? We like to say we're there to support, right? You're having trouble. You're like, hey, I can see all the risks, but we don't know what to do about it. Let us help you with that. Or, hey, we're stuck on this, or we don't know which tool to use. We can still be there to kind of help coach and guide, but ultimately people can implement these programs on their own, and it's easier than it ever has been. You're not having to go through this so much training and learning exactly how to use all these different force gauges. Let's start somewhere. Let's make this accessible. Let's let people use it. And I think because of that, the conversation has sparked back up because it feels more achievable.
It's like you say, it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
And it's starting to change, which is good.
Yeah.
So any final thoughts?
Again, I think it's about piecing it all together, following through, and making it participatory. You're saying, okay, we're going to do ergonomics, and here we've done these risk assessments. This is one of my favorite things to do. Sometimes I'll go into, we have our Ergo Plus platform, and I can go into any of my clients and kind of see where they're at. Wow, looks like you guys are doing a lot of assessments, but as I'm looking at your job improvement process, I don't see a whole lot of improvement ideas happening here. Like where are we stuck? Well, we don't know how to fix them. Okay, let's talk about this. Let's have some brainstorming sessions. Let's pull the videos up. Let's talk about what the problem is here. But we can real easily see where
so
the stall
ending at the talk stage.
Right. Yes. Right. So we and because the assessments are so much easier, they're like, yes, let's assess. Okay. I mean, sometimes you want to do that to know where your highest risk is, right? Yes. You can prioritize, but I should start seeing some solutions in there. Or maybe I'll go in and see that there's lots of solutions, but then our last step is kind of to verify the risk reduction. Okay. So I see these solutions in here. I see them all in the scheduled column. Have you been able to present those? I did. Okay. Are you getting any traction on moving forward on any of them? No. Okay. And that's a real problem, right? Okay. How can we communicate this better? let me help you put together your business case for making some of these changes. Or maybe we're going to start small. Is there something like this one you could probably go out and do yourself with the help of the maintenance person? Let's go in and make some of these changes and show them to be able to show this before and after, to say, here's what we did.
I like that business plan idea, because that gets into the nuts and bolts and the money.
Right. Yes. And here's how much we've spent on knee injuries or whatever it is that we're addressing, right? To help them kind of really understand the why behind advocating for those changes. But I think the ability to kind of see things through from the start to the finish is really what the key to the overall.
And second, analyze it.
Yeah. Assess, analyze,
evaluate, all of that
right.
stuff
Yes.
at the end. Right?
Putting all of them through, and then finally showing what your improvement is, validating that risk reduction is key, because that gives you a little more fuel to keep going.
There
right?
you go.
Your recharge.
So, though an ongoing issue, there are some proactive strategies employers and employees can implement in the workplace and in individual workspaces. Recognizing potential risks and addressing them can help in reducing injury and illness costs. I'd like to again thank Kristianne Egbert of
Briotix Health.
They could be reached through Briotix Health Media Relations, Courtney.Mountford@briotix.com. If you have any questions about this podcast, if you'd like to be a guest or sponsor one of our podcasts, information can be found at our website at MICH, safetyconference.org. Thank you for listening to Safety Spectrum. This is Sheila I.